They'll say, okay, Dad, all the powder coating's done, bolt it on. I grab a tube of Loctite, and we Loctite everything, and I start bolting everything on.
It's minimalistic, but I can get it done pretty good back here, you know? Like I said, I'll come out blue, purple, whatever I'm doing, but that's
like this bike. This is my bike, and so I wanted the blue to match some of the blue and the body work we did.
So if you ever wondered what is Rusty Wallace doing now, we're gonna find out.
Right now we're at Rusty Wallace Incorporated. This is where we've got our motorcycle company, Southern Country Customs, and my office is in here, and this is kind of where I show up every day and kind of hang out.
All right, let's check it out.
It's kind of my deal right here. I'll sit at the office and field phone calls and talk to the guys at the car dealerships a little bit, and I don't spend much time here. I'll go in the back of the shop, and I'll take you back there in a little bit, and we'll tell you what I'm really doing right now. But everybody's been asking a lot of questions about the motorcycle stuff we're doing, so I'll show you in a little bit. But kind of hang my hat right in here, and got a bunch of our trophies that I've won in the past that I'm pretty proud of.
Is that the real '89 trophy?
Yeah, actually it is. That's the real 1989 Winston Cup Championship trophy.
Wow.
I've got two of them. A replica and the real one. That's the real one.
That's crazy.
And then that helmet is pretty cool. I remember when Penske wanted to know if I wanted to go to Daytona and test Brad Keselowski's car for the Daytona 500. I said, yeah, that'd be cool. I'd get back in the seat. So I tested the car, wore that helmet on the right that day, testing. And then the one on the left, Brad Keselowski actually brought that to me, gave it to me as a gift down there at Daytona. It was pretty cool. I was pretty excited about it. Got to drive in the Ferrari Challenge in Daytona. I was actually, the first time we ran, I finished third in one of the races. Then it was all said and done. We had like 125 cars showed up, I remember, and I finished 10th, so I was pretty proud of that. Coca-Cola 600 victory in Charlotte. That's when I won the Bud Shootout in Daytona over there. This is a pretty cool one down here. That was the last trophy that I won at Riverside, California. That was the last race ever run. I won the Winston 500 in Riverside, California, and that was the trophy. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
That place got a lot of history on that road course. But you know, I was telling you a couple of days ago, I think, that all the trophies I got, all my Bristol trophies, all my grandfather clocks and stuff, when I sold my buildings up the street, I had no room for everything. And the Hall of Fame got a hold of us down in Charlotte, Winston Kelly and the guys. And all my trophies, everything I got right now is in the basement of the Hall of Fame in Charlotte. It's pretty cool. You go down and you'll see all these uniforms and all this stuff, but general public doesn't get to see it. I mean, I guess they could if they asked. But you go down there and the Hall of Fame guys will go down and grab pieces and parts. They'll grab trophies that I've won and they'll take them upstairs and display them to different people. And so they're constantly down there grabbing things and kind of redisplaying them, which is kind of cool. But that's about it. Let's go out in the back. I'll show you the bikes.
That's like the cleanest office I've ever seen. It doesn't look like you do any work in there.
You know, you got to learn that stuff from somebody, right?
Yeah, I got to learn how to do that. Mine's a mess. My desk is terrible.
That's my son, Greg.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
He's in there building all the display boards for the Rusty Wallace charity ride in Sturgis this year. We're going to go out there and do this ride for charity. He's getting all the stuff put together for that right now.
That's cool.
All right, you're getting ready to enter motorcycle world right now. Here we go. This is Southern Country Customs. It's a new company we started. It's so much fun, it's unreal. And Steven, my son, my youngest son, pretty well runs the whole thing. He's the lead master fabricator, and him and I own the business 50-50. And I get back here and build bikes, and he builds them too. So here's some of the new ones we just finished. And right behind you, that's the one I'm really proud of. This is the brand new charity bike going to Sturgis, South Dakota for the Rusty Wallace ride. 2022 Road Glide ST Special, they call it. It's got the big engine, big everything. It's going to get auctioned off to the highest bidder, and all the money goes to the NASCAR Foundation and the Rapid City Special Olympics Flame, it's called. So it's all for children's charities, and pretty neat.
That's really cool. I mean, I don't know anything about motorcycles, but I know about building stuff and putting stuff together and just like general mechanical craftsmanship. And when I first saw these things at Sturgis a couple years ago, I was like, man, that is really nice. Like everything is just, it doesn't look like anything is not thought about on these things.
You know, people ask me all the time, say, man, what turned you on about these bikes? I said, well, I've been going for 19 years in a row. NASCAR's president, Mike Helton, was the first one that took us to Sturgis. They took me, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart. They took a ton of people out there as guests, and so I got excited about it. But then the thing I get so much excited about is you put all this work in something this beautiful, right? I mean, it's just pristine. All these bikes are pristine, and you generally bring them back without a scratch on them. That's one thing about NASCAR, man. I got so sick of going to Daytona and watching my guys build the most beautiful cars you've ever seen in your life. And 50% of the time they'd come back in a big pile. They're all just destroyed and wiped out. You're like, oh man, you're kidding me. Now you can just shine something up and be proud of it for a long time. But there's Steve over there. Steve's building all the bikes now.
What's up, guys?
I want to find out how you do this. So like where the process starts.
So the process, it's pretty wild because people see these bikes in this stage and they're like, wow, that's a lot smaller, a lot different than what you think it would. But basically, we start with brand new motorcycles. They're complete, they come from the dealership, and then we highly, you know, as you can see, highly alter them. You know, do different powder coat on them, different style wheels, and you know, necks and whatnot. So like this bike here is about halfway through its stage. We got all the paint work back on Friday for it, so it's kind of on the finish line, to be honest with you.
Huh. You both work on these things. What parts of the build process is like your thing, or what do you avoid?
I avoid. That's a great question. I totally avoid the wiring. He understands that. I do too, to a point, but man, the wiring on these things are the most complicated, I think. It's not that it's complicated, it's just the computers that are in them right now that come from Harley, you know. I don't like all that stuff, but I'm a good bolt-on guy. Like, I'm always bolting on like the Dirty Air. This is the brand called Dirty Air, these air shocks. I'll put that on these things called floorboards. I'll install all the floorboards, the pedals, the air cleaner systems, you know, all the bolt-on stuff that Steve will go in the back and powder coat. He'll say, okay, Dad, all the powder coating's done, bolt it on. And I grab a tube of Loctite, and we Loctite everything, and I start bolting everything on. And it's like he said, hey, the paint work will be back on Friday. Well, what he means is that the body work, the gas tank, the rear fender, the sides, all that's called body work. In fact, we'll show you some. We got some on the other side of this wall over here.
But a lot of this stuff we've honestly had to learn the hard way. We tore a lot of stuff up, but we've learned we constantly learn. We're there now. We've been really good about understanding how to work with each other for, you know, about 2 years now. So we, man, we're having a lot of fun. We built a bunch of them. We've got a new bike here. This is my new one for Sturgis. It's kind of a, you know, race themed bike. It's all chain driven. It's got a 139 cubic inch motor we're putting in it. Solid carbon fiber body, all billet swing arms. Every bolt on this whole entire motorcycle is 12-point ARP bolts. Wow. Everywhere on it. So I think the cool thing for me, since I don't drive anymore, is man, I've always fabricated, I've always built stuff my whole life, and this style of bike is really important to me because it's like I'm assembling and I'm building my race car. So everything is just trick and light and nice, and zip tires are perfectly clocked, and the wiring's as short as it could be, and that's the fun stuff that we really enjoy, you know. So
how did you like tinker with Harleys and stuff before doing this? Like,
yeah,
how did this evolve into?
It happened. This whole thing started 19 years ago when Mike Helton with NASCAR, who's our main guy over there right now. He used to be the president, and now he's the chairman, you know. And Mike took us all out there after the NASCAR races. We'd run a race. I'm trying to think which one we would leave at from. I think it was New Hampshire, maybe. Pocono or New Hampshire. I think it's Pocono now. And he said, I'm gonna take you guys out to Sturgis for the motorcycle rally. So he took a handful of us out there. Well, man, I got hooked on it. I mean, I got hooked big time. So much so that every time I came back, I was building a new bike to take out there the following year. Huh. Now, building a new bike meant just accessorizing it, you know, putting trick headers on her, a lot of chrome or whatever. And then we started building a couple cool bikes, and people started saying, man, those are bad to the bone. I'd like to have one of those. And then about that same time, Stephen was just getting tired of his short track racing. And he said, Dad, I love these bikes, you know. And
we're racers.
Yeah.
we're addicts to stuff. So if you get something, we go nuts on it, and that's what it's come out to be. You know,
We had a really good friend, a great friend of ours named Brian Wade, and Brian and myself and Steven got together and started a motorcycle company. And so then Brian, he's actually a movie star, and he does quite well. So he decided to move back to California. And when that happened, Steve and I bought him out. And so now Steven and I, we own the company 100%. And we've been just going crazy with it right now because, you know, I like building really cool quality stuff. And I think I told you earlier that one of the coolest things about this is the people you get to meet. I mean, I love my NASCAR people, but when you do 36 races and you see the same people week after week after week after week, okay, that's okay. But when you go to a motorcycle rally or you meet the motorcycle people, you might only see them one time a year, and you get to see so many different people. And that's what we're experiencing right now. But not only we get to do that, but we're building, I know we're probably the top 5 builder in the United States right now for these custom Harley, street glide, road glide, touring style motorcycles. And we're real proud of what we're building. I mean, we're getting a lot of good reviews.
Where do you do the powder coating and all that stuff? Like, where's
Hey,
the...
show them that body kit, what it looks like.
So, as you can see, the big thing for us is to keeping stuff in stock to where we can build these bikes, you know, quick and on time and all that. So these are all body sets. Let's say a person calls and they want to build a bike. I keep everything in stock, so there's no real waiting. We've gotten to the extent of, you know, all our, some of our bodies are 100% carbon fiber. Back here is, call them the paint sets. So this is a street glide paint set that just came back that I'll build a bike with. You know, it's got a lot of really cool gold metallic in it.
That's intense.
Man, the paint's everything, and we've been real fortunate to have some really good painters. The paint, the powder coat, and all the little fine details and everything is what really kind of makes our stuff really nice. The fit and finish. That's what we're all about. The fit and finish. Like, these are all our headers we build in-house, or all made out of true stainless steel and all.
You make those?
TIG welded. My brother-in-law Colby makes them. Yeah. So he's an excellent welder, as you can see. Yeah, but then back in here, this is kind of our dirty area. This is kind of the fab shop of where we cut a lot of the necks on the bikes, fit a lot of the body panels. Like this bike here, this is Tony Stewart's new bike that I'm building for him. This will be a 30-inch street glide bike, big audio, big motor. This thing's a real delicate stage right now. It's just real bare bones. We've got the neck and all the hardcore fabrication stuff already done to it. So body's out of paint, and when all that stuff comes back, this bike will transform into a monster. It will have these really cool cylinders on it, big power, real wild looking stuff on it. So
how much horsepower does one of these things make in their
so our kind of average builds right at about 129 foot-pounds of torque, about 120 horsepower. The bike we're building for Sturgis should be around 180 horsepower. So it's a big variance on how fast you want to go, So, but back here, you see, we've got our mills and lathes and whatnot. We build a lot of spacers and always, shimming on stuff on these bikes because every one of them's, different. So it's kind of hard to, stock stuff because they're custom bikes, So we build a lot of stuff. So my shop's really cool. So the back of the shop, these are container trailers. So
really,
it's just kind of more use of space. So here's our parts room, kind of with just some minimalistic stuff. We've got another parts room up there that's got all the good stuff. But like I said, I do all the powder coating. Sometimes I come out of this room.
This is neat. See,
purple, blue.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you built like an addition to do the powder coating out of trailers.
That's a creative deal.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you come through the walkway here into the other trailer. And yeah, man, so those are the charge lines. There's my oven. It's minimalistic, but I can get it done pretty good back here, Like I said, I'll come out blue, purple, whatever I'm doing, but you gotta have it with what we do, So.
You ever get somebody important showing up and you got to run out of here like all blue?
All the time. But I tell them, because I'm pretty hands-on, everybody knows that. So when I come flying around the corner, I'm like, hey man, I've been powder coating. So,
oh, okay.
So, but that's kind of our tour of our shop. This is our hauler. Here, I'll take you here.
I mean, that's impressive, because I saw the powder on that and I'm like, man, I want to find out who does that, because
Yeah.
we need to find a good powder place around here.
Oh, yeah.
It's not easy to do that really well.
No, so I've got a lot of practice there, I'll say that. But this is our trailer. So in all honesty, the bike stuff, we're really serious about it. And these big motor bikes, you know, sometimes will, you know, break a clutch or you know, transmission and, you know, stuff like that. So we carry all kinds of spare parts and pieces, and, you know, spare motors, transmissions. I know that sounds weird, but believe it or not, we will occasionally go through that stuff. But this lift here will hold, it'll hold 4 bikes here and then 2 up top. So the whole, you know, lift will go up. It'll hold 6 bikes up top and then, you know, 4 down low. So we, you know, typically take 10, you know, big custom bikes everywhere we go. And
like this year at Sturgis, when we go to Sturgis, we'll have probably 15 of our customers that we built bikes for. They all want to go to Sturgis, and a lot of them want to come hang with us out there. And so we got all the spare parts for everything. Stephen, we got spare transmissions, we got spare engines.
a lot of them get having a lot of fun, you know what I mean? So
A lot of them tear
it breaks
stuff up. And for the first time, we're actually taking our motorcycle, one of the motorcycle lifts out there, and setting it up in the RV park where we're at down there, Elkhorn RV Park. But we'll have a ton of people out there, and so if anything goes wrong with them, we can fix the stuff right for them, you know, so they can stay having fun.
That's cool.
It's wild sounding, but that's the truth of it, you know?
I know why everything's so clean now. You walked in there and moved that gas can over to the corner because it was crooked on the countertop.
Yeah, we're pretty OCD too, I'm not gonna lie. We like to have stuff real clean. But
It's our buddy Mike Skinner's motorcycle. Mike's got an Indian, and he's a good friend of ours, and I said, send that thing down here, we'll take it out there for you. So he's on a big RV trip right now, somewhere halfway between here and Montana, I think. And when he shows up at Sturgis, we'll have his bike for him. So
this bike here actually is the next build. This is a brand new Road Glide Limited, it's called. This is what they start as. They're brand new bikes, literally 3 miles on it. So we'll completely tear it apart all the way down to basically just the driveline in it, you know, the engine, and start from there on it.
customer will buy a brand new motorcycle like this and bring it to us, and we turn it into their dreams, you know, make a real cool hot rod out of it.
Huh. With all these dealerships you got, why don't you have a Harley dealership?
Because I'm passionate about the motorcycles. I was always taught that unless you really understand something, you shouldn't really get into it. We really understand how to build these bikes, but I really don't understand how to run a Harley dealership. So
let somebody else do that, right?
Yeah.
that's the reason I got really good partners at our dealerships up in Tennessee. I got 8 car dealerships in Tennessee. I've been in the business for 30 some years. And one of my best friends and partners is a guy named Ray Huffaker. And Ray is like our father of the car business. He teaches everybody everything. And I talked to him one time. I said, you ever thought about getting in the motorcycle business? No, I think we're okay with what we got. I said, okay. So you bring the bike to us, we'll build you new bikes, and we'll make them absolutely beautiful. We know what we're doing when it comes to that.
That's some good life advice.
It's that saying, know your lane, you know what I mean?
Stay in your own
Stay in your
lane,
own
man.
Yeah. Big part of our years is for Sturgis. So we've got, you're roughly right at about I think 6 to finish and have done. So we're all out of paint. Like I said, the bikes are here and the parts are all here. So we're just keep building and rocking.
It's kind of the same feel going into Daytona though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, going to Daytona's like the second biggest bike week in the world in March. And so I remember sitting back here, bikes were lined up everywhere. We had people helping us, getting this stuff done, and we made it. We got everything to Daytona. And we took, 7 or 8 new builds there, I think.
8 brand new ones.
8 brand new ones. We sold every one of them. Sold every bike.
Wow.
We're set up the Brook and Spoke, one of the biggest bars in Daytona. We had the trailer, and we're 20,000 people a day coming through. And
Wow.
yeah, we did really good.
It's crazy, man, because motorcycle stuff, I mean, it's fun for sure. Don't get me wrong, but it's just as, I mean, I look at this deal. It's no different than like, you know, the racing stuff I've done in the past, where it's, I mean, it's competitive as hell. Your equipment's got to stand out. You know, meaning the fit and finish of all your stuff, and I feel like that's where we do pretty good at is from a racing background, dim side of stuff. So it's really competitive getting into those rallies and getting everything buttoned up and finished, because everybody wants to go have a good time, and there's a lot of big bikes that we're building, and
Like,
So,
and everybody, when they're in the mood to ride, man, they want to ride right now. If they want a bike, they want the bike right now. They don't want to wait and wait and wait. And so we found out, man, just like the car business, the customer service, you know, you got to make those guys happy because everything's instantaneous. And where I'm going with this one, I walked in this morning and I said, hey, what is this bike doing back here? It's one of the most beautiful bikes we ever built that's sitting over there. He said, Dad, he said, our customer, he's going down the road and ran over a rock or something, and it tore all the wiring out of the back of the bike. So generally you might have to sit there and wait, you know, weeks to get that fixed. He stayed here all night last night and fixed that entire bike. And the guy dropped it off yesterday, and we called him up at 8 o'clock this morning. So your bike's done. The guy about fell out of his chair. He said, what do you mean it's done? It's done, man.
You got time to wait, man. We're gonna get you back on the road.
You go back having fun. Look how beautiful this thing is. I mean, it's this orange bike. It's called a 21 fat tire. Just our own exhaust, everything. It turned out just awesome, and he loves it. But you know, going down the road, you run over a rock or something, and it tore the wiring out of it. But it's back fixed now.
This is leaving tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We sold it to a guy in Chicago, and he's, as we speak, driving down here. He's gonna spend the night and pick it up tomorrow morning, and you know, take it home with him. So.
What is this? Is that orange on there, like the wheel and the crank cover? Is that powder or paint?
That's powder. That's prismatic. Man, what's that called?
It's not Tangerine Twist, is it?
Not Tangerine Twist. No. But like that's Lollipop Red and powder there, and we do all the engine components with it. And Striker Orange. That's what it is. Striker Orange. Yeah. But yeah, man.
Yeah, that's seriously impressive. Like, especially with those illusion colors. I mean,
yeah.
I've built enough things and taken powder to different places and say, like, you know, this comes back, it doesn't look like it's supposed to. It's got orange peel in it.
I've messed my fair share up, I can promise you.
Whatever you're doing, you gotta figure it out.
I've got the capability to strip the stuff quick, to where if I do mess up, that I can recover pretty quick on it, you know. So
we'll take all the engines now, and like the rocker covers, this area right here, and down here, Steven will take all that stuff. He'll take it back in the powder cut room and powder coat everything. Like this bike, this is my bike, and so I wanted the blue to match some of the blue of the body work we did.
This bike,
he did all that. Cool. That's his bike. That's Steven's bike that he custom built.
This bike, if you really look at everything on it, it's a mix of 3 bikes. It's a mix of what I call an audio bike, which is a huge stereo system. These things just blow your mind how much bass come out of them now. Performance, in a way, it's got a giant engine in it. It's all chain driven. These cylinders, on it are all pineapple cut and then diamond cut. And I built all my own oil line systems here. And
how do they do this?
I really honestly don't know. And I should know that, but they've got it all patent pending in their own machine, how they do it and everything. But just down to the stuff like the graphics and the floorboards are kind of cool. And like I said,
that's your little airbrush detail in the middle there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's all over it, really. It's a pretty cool bike. That's all gold leaf, and I don't know what all those are, but
how'd that get there?
I don't know.
Did you make the paint guy mad or something?
I woke up one day and it had all that on it. So, but no, it's fun stuff, man. These things are really, really cool, and like I said, Sturgis is gonna be a good time for sure.
How do you balance keeping this fun without letting it get to your head? Like to stress yourself out about it.
Well,
there's plenty of that.
I can tell you right now, he's making more money doing this than he did driving that race car. and he's got a new baby now, and he's married, and he's all settled down, and he's 100% all in. He's treating it like a real business, and it's fun. I mean, when you go do something and it's so much fun to do, and you're hanging out with so many cool people, and you're making money, that's cool. And that's what's happening right here, right now.
I raced since I was 8 years old till I was 33, so that's a pretty good time, but there's so much more fun stuff to do, man. These bikes are just a whole nother, it's weird because it's not weird, but the thing I found is that, I'm older, so I mean everybody else was older, but it's just like, I feel as now that I'm older, everybody's getting to do certain things together that, could never do before, and this stuff's really brought a whole group and a whole, friends together.
Like we went to
outside of racing.
Well, we just got back from Mountain Falls. You know where that is? Mountain Falls Resort up in the mountains of North Carolina. It's about 40 miles southwest of Asheville.
Oh, okay.
And so we went up there and we rode all through Highway 28, Highway 23, these real twisty and turnies. But you talk about friends, we had 30 friends up there and 30 cool motorcycles. We rode for 4 days. And we had great dinners every single night. We drank a bunch of beer and wine. We had fun doing that.
Just a lot of stuff that you couldn't do back in the day because everybody was so intense with racing and sponsorships and doing stuff you didn't want to do but had to do. And so it's just I think a real happy kind of point in everybody's life right now. We're all having a good time. And like he says, hell, my kid now, she's 3.5. She's crazy. She loves motorcycles and all this stuff too. So
likes the water now, right?
Yeah.
It's always.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to find that balance of like you take something that you like and then you make it how you make money until the point where like it starts to drive you crazy because you like.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, man. There's certain times like before we hired our new guy. I mean, like a lot of people that they just think, oh, this guy's got a bunch of dudes that work at that shop. That ain't the case,
They came up to us and said, how are you building this many motorcycles that look this beautiful with 2 people? I said, man, we just are, we just are just doing it,
Like last year for Daytona, man, when we built these 2 and then like 7 other ones. But I mean, to answer your question, it's pretty simple. It's for 8 months, 7 days a week, for working. So, but it's the winter time, so there ain't really nothing fun to go do, so that's when it gets stressful. But we've way overdid that now, and we're got everything a lot more smoother to where we're all having fun all the time,
I like looking forward to going somewhere. Like now we're looking forward, as you're doing this video, we're getting ready for Sturgis, and so we're counting the days down till we get to go to Sturgis and say, okay, Steve, your bike's done, my bike's done, this bike's done, the charity bike is finished, Stewart's bike is a quarter of the way finished. We got a plan for that. We got this one. So everything's looking good. And so when that's over, our focus can go right to, see, where are we going next? We're going to
Fayetteville,
Arkansas.
Blues and barbecue.
Yeah.
Biker, blues, and barbecue. We're going to be down there, big deal. Then when that's done, we'll probably be going to Biketoberfest in Daytona. I think we're going to go to Galveston, Texas this year for the first time. And then after that, it's all hands on deck again to get ready for the second largest bike rally in the world, and that's a Daytona Bike Week. And that'll be in March after the Daytona 500. So I'll be down at Daytona, and then right after that, we'll get these bikes down for Bike Week.
So where's like the peak satisfaction in this? Is it as you're building it in little pieces, like, oh, that looks really good, then you put this, oh, that looks really good, or does it all kind of hit you at once whenever you either deliver to someone or start riding it?
That's a good question. I think they're getting, when you start getting engines and all the different powder coat colors assembled, and obviously when you start it up, we run some real aggressive camshafts, our own pipes, and when you start, you don't want to hear them pound pretty hard and all that, and then you get the bodies on them, and then that's the overall result. When you get
I like it when people walk in here and they like maybe see this bike or that one over there or whatever, and their eyes get this big and they go, oh my God, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And then we fire them up and they're really excited. And they're like, this bike here, when he turns the stereo on, what's it got, like 60,000 amp or watts or something crazy. It'll blow the roof off this place.
It's got 2 12-inch subwoofers in it, and there's other bikes, that are just astronomical. They just blow this thing out of the water, but it's extremely impressive.
I like watching what other people think, when you say, what's the most satisfaction?
Like if I turn it on, you'd be like, whoa, I did not understand that. That's crazy.
What kind of alternator do you have to put on this thing to run that stuff?
This has got 3 lithium-ion batteries. It's got 1 under the seat in the kind of standard position, and then it's got 2 underneath the rear fender.
So do you have to plug it in when you're not riding it, or does it charge those?
No,
and then you kind
of it does stay maintained charged. I think if you only had 1 battery in it, you'd have a problem, but there are 2 like really high-end good, or 3 big lithiums, and I've got this voltmeter right here, so I can really tell when it's.
So if you're cranking too hard and not riding around, it has to like you're running off the batteries.
And then you got a bass knob where you can knock all the bass out of it, and that knocks a lot of the voltage out of it.
know. So
that'll, if you shut
and
that
the
off,
batteries,
it's
I mean,
hard
they're
to
this big, but they don't weigh anything. You could hold it with your little finger. They're so light, this lithium batteries, but it got a pile of power. And so,
but like this bike's really cool because it's, I mean, it looks like Darth Vader, you know, like it's just mean looking, and it's built like a, you know, like this is a road glide, okay? So it's got a fixed fairing on it, okay? So the fairing never moves. So this bike here, being it's a 30-inch big wheel bike, it becomes a vision issue to where the fairing's so high that you can't literally see over it. So you build the fairing all tunneled out here, and you slam it down, and this thing moves like a street glide.
So you have to like take that off and cut that in there, or do you buy it with that?
I buy it like that, yeah. I buy it like that, but just a lot of stuff, man, like the fit and finish, like, you know, we, you know, mold all the, you know, interfering speaker pods and try and get all the lines and, you know, all that stuff just as nice as we can. And then, you know, really getting into the carbon fiber stuff a lot, because, man, a lot of these guys are great fabricators and they're great builders and everything's cool, but it's just like, why does it gotta be that heavy? You know, everybody, it's just really all they know. But man, we're in Race City, USA. We've built race cars our whole life. It's all performance driven. Like that carbon fiber fender weighs like 18 pounds lighter than a steel one. So it's gotta matter.
Yeah.
You know?
How much does the whole thing weigh?
This bike's heavy. We actually weighed it before we went to Daytona. It's 1,200 pounds.
Wow.
Versus this bike, it's 900. But that bike's got 300 pounds of speakers in it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just.
see, he wanted big sound, and I wanted big performance. So the whole back end of my bike is solid carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Huh.
So with two different bikes, a real like race bike and real quality bike that can really show what we can do here at Southern Country Customs. That was one of the main reasons Stephen built that bike. He said, I want to build this bike and show people what we can really do.
Hey, we're not bullshit, man. This is a real deal. And like a lot of builders, and I'm so respectful of this deal, because there's so many great guys, man, that are just, I mean, like the real deal when it comes to, you know, metal work and stuff. But I like to think that bike's pretty doggone good too. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I've learned too, a lot of these guys, they really work together too. These builders do, don't you think?
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
I mean, like one of our buddies is a guy named Curly, and Curly's a great fabricator. His bikes are amazing. They're really cool bikes too. But Stephen and him get talking about, man, I can't see over this thing, and Curly says, man, I can make this fairing.
So there's a lot of cool guys that make the fairings, and then I got a really good friend of mine, Cody Voodoo Bike Works out in Arizona, that he solely, you know, kind of changed the audio game with this stuff to where the back of his bikes are real wide looking. You got cool character lines. Because there's only, I mean, I don't want to make fiberglass bags, man. I build motorcycles and all that. So there's a lot of, you know, vendors and different, you know, people that all come together to, you know, really, you know, build, you know, cool bodies and whatnot.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
the whole back end of this bike is made by Cody from Voodoo Customs out in Arizona.
And they're essentially
Scottsdale
subwoofer boxes.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Subwoofer boxes.
Subwoofer boxes. That's the God's honest
Yeah.
truth. Like, these don't open, they're solid.
Huh.
Just boom, boom.
So you both kind of got like this whole second life phase going on now.
I think
Like,
so,
it's
yeah.
all, you're just like totally checked
Yeah, it's
into.
kind of crazy.
No,
Yeah.
100%. It's been a lot of fun for sure, you know. Well, we've you know, kind of, you know, it's like I said, we've raced forever, and now we're doing this, and it's all the same as the race cars. There's just two wheel versus four, in my opinion. And the paint jobs are cooler, obviously.
Yeah, who comes up with those? How do you design a paint job?
Well, in all honesty, he's really good at the lines. So this type of, you want stuff to look like it's running 800 mile an hour when it's sitting still. That's just the train of thought for everybody. So I think really cool lines that start at the fairing, and they kind of go from the top of the bike and roll down the sides like this. So like if you look at this bike, it really tears down like that, you know, and all the lines kind of flow through it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the customer bikes, we'll build the bike, and then I'll get the customer in touch with the painter, and they discuss all that, you know. So that way it kind of,
You don't have to
yeah,
middleman
because it's we had one bike that a guy just really did not like the paint scheme and had to get repainted. But besides that, we built, I think like 47 of them everybody's loved. So it's just get those two, you know, figured out.
Where do you want to take this? Like, what?
It's basically his deal. I'm having a great time doing this, but you know, I like golfing. I like going to Mexico. I go down there all the time. But you know, but I love these rallies, you know, and I do like building them. But it's like I said, you know, when we had the opportunity to do it, we both had to have skin in the game. So he went to a savings account and paid 50% of his company, and I did too. And we said, let's go do it and see where it goes. Well, like I said, it's making money and it's fun. It's not my whole, I'm a race car driver, you know, I love doing that, but I don't do it any longer. But I'll be going to races, I'll be doing my golf, I'll be playing with these motorcycles. But for Stephen,
it's kind of like a hobby that turned into a job that turned into something cool. Yeah. That I think could be, I mean, you can't predict the future, right? But
yeah,
I mean, I couldn't see this.
We're not building a company to sell it. That's what everybody does, you know. We're going to build this company up and then we're going to sell it, right? But that's not our plan right now.
We just honestly,
we're kind of driving off the hood ornament right now, and we're just kind of having a good old time. And we're just up there in the wheel, man. We're grinding along, and everything's going good, and we'll just keep on going for right now. We don't have a plan. We don't have a plan to get out. We're having too much a good time right now.
That's cool. Seems like the best things are always kind of that way. Like, I don't know, it's like we're having fun right now. See where it goes as it goes.
Yeah.
There's plans aren't made for everything. There's just a lot of stuff you can't predict, but I think if you enjoy it and have fun, you can kind of, you know, you can steer it in the right direction, you know, pull back, you know, pull the throttle back when you need to, and, you know, then work harder when you need to get more bikes built, you know.
You ought to show them that picture on the wall over there. I just thought about it when I was sitting over there. I saw that picture, and I know we're probably going to go over and look at the old Blue Max shop a little bit. But that's what the Blue Max shop produced, that right there.
1989 there. That's my dad's dad, Russ. My uncle Kenny, my brother Greg, Dad, my mom, my sister Katie.
She looks pumped.
She's mad as hell. This won a championship, man. What are you doing? And then me and my grandma and dad. That's where it all started.
And that's the trophy that's in your office.
That's the trophy's in my office, yeah.
Wow.
And that's the Blue Max team.
Blue Max?
Right there. Blue Max Racing. Raymond Beetle.
I can't believe how mad she was right there.
Yeah, what's she mad about?
She gives me that face still to this day, man. I don't mess with my sister.
She probably got mad because Mom wanted to take a picture or something. Who knows?
What are you eating in that picture?
I'm eating like a toy car or something. There's no telling with me. That's kind of like the Daytona 500 short track cars. Have you know, short track races are one, and you won at Bristol times. There's a big pole board and
Give you a chainsaw. Does it run?
You know what? I was 18 when I won that, and I'm gonna say I started it up. I did.
You did?
I'm not lying. Yeah. So it does run, but it doesn't have gas or oil in it anymore. This was a cool win. I turned 18 that day. I'm 35 now, but I turned 18 and I drove for Penske Racing. That
Wait,
was
2005. I was probably at that race.
Yeah, we won that, and
was that in the yellow Kodak car?
yeah.
I think I was there for that. I was like 9.
I didn't even realize that. The Harley Davidson.
Oh yeah, Harley sponsored the race, yeah.
But
You drove a Harley car too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I drove like 4 of them, 4 different paint schemes.
This one was cool. I got a really good story about this one. So, Iowa Speedway, I won the very, very first race there. It was me and Juan Pablo Montoya. We won, we were really excited, everything was cool. And that trophy, Prairie Meadows sponsored it. It had all these chips in the top of it, like poker chips, you know. So I get out of the car, woo, doing a deal. And me and Dad and my mom go to take a cool damn picture. He grabs the trophy, shakes it around, and blew all the chips out of it. I'm like, oh! Yeah. Well, yeah, man. It's some cool, fun stuff, you know. That was my last win. I believe it was. It was a big super late model race up in Raleigh area. It was so hot that day, I'll never forget. That's kind of why I don't enjoy racing at all anymore. I don't know how those guys do it. It's so hot. It's crazy.
What does it feel like to be standing here right now?
It's kind of weird because you look at this building, and this is where we won a lot of races, probably close to 18, 20 races in the 89 championship.
If you ever wondered what is Rusty Wallace doing today, we're gonna find out right now.
Let's go check it out.
What is this here?
We're locked out.
Way to start the video.
We'll have to do that again.